It's 9:30 at night tonight. I just wanted to say hi. Love and light to everybody. Um Tonight I felt like the Holy Spirit wanted me to talk about my childhood a little bit and about where the beginning of my journey started. Um it started when I was a little girl. I grew up living with my grandma until I was in second grade. I went to church with her every Sunday to a Catholic church in Cleveland. It was a beautiful church, stained glass windows, a beautiful sense of God. Um, I went there for the first few years, and then when I moved in with my mom, I went to visit my grandma on the weekends. And during that time, I was working on making my first communion. But I never ended up finishing that. I ended up moving with my mom to Bay Village, and staying out there with her for the next 10, 15 years. Um, During the time that I was with my mom, I didn't really attend church unless I was with my grandma. But um, when I was 16 years old, my grandpa, who was one of my best friends in the whole world, the year before he passed away, I had spent that year learning about music with him, going to my grandma's on the weekends, doing crossword puzzles with him, going with my grandparents out to breakfast. It was so beautiful. But when he passed away, um, at that point in my life, I had actually been studying Wiccan in high school, and I was doing all kinds of things that would have been completely wicked in the eyes of the church. But at 16 years old, I found myself back in a Catholic church reading scriptures before my family and crying. This brought me to a place in my life where I was like, if I'm back in this church, there's a reason for it. And so God is calling me for something. So at that point in my life, I decided that I was going to start attending the Catholic classes. And when I started doing that, I went on Wednesday nights, and my grandma was my sponsor. She's a wonderful woman of faith. But her and another girl that I was hanging out with, me and her went through the whole process together. And at the end of that, I ended up making my confirmation and communion. The reason why I wanted to do that was because at some point, at that point in my life, I guess, I had thought that like doing the extra sacraments was going to bring me closer to God, that I was going to feel that that emptiness that was inside of me would go away. Um, at that point in my life, I also was definitely living in sin. I was promiscuous. I had just started using drugs with people in school. And yet, in the midst of that, I was still attending church on Wednesdays and Sundays religiously. And it was a place during that time in my life with all the chaos of high school and friends and drama and everything like that. Sundays was a 1 hour period of time where I could escape from the world, from all of my problems. And even though I knew that I was sinning, it was still a place that I felt safe. And I don't know why, but I felt convicted, but at the same time, there was this grace and this peace that I felt when I entered inside of the building. Um, when I completed all of the classes, I was 17 and I graduated from high school, but there was still something missing. And immediately after I had finished my classes, I left the church again for a period of time. And I didn't return to the church again until I was 23 when I came to Christ. Here and there, I had dipped in and out of the church um, from the time that I was 17 until I was 23. I didn't worship God the way that I should have, but I don't think that I ever completely dismissed that there was a God or something that was better than me. Um, I I don't know if this is going to be helpful to anybody, but what I do know is that in the midst of all of those struggles as a teenager, not knowing who I was, all the promiscuousness, as I've grown older, what I've come to realize was that all of those things that I was indulging in at that time was a lack of love or a way that I felt that I should have been loved by people in this world. And I was really looking for God's love. I was looking for somebody to love me unconditionally. There was something inside of me that said that something was off and I didn't know what it was. I searched and I'm glad that I came to the place that I am at now. I wanted to share this with you guys because I think that it's really important that even in the midst of all of that brokenness, God was still looking for me. He never changed his mind on me. He never thought because I was being promiscuous and coming to church on Sundays that I was any less. But he wanted something better for me. And that was why my heart was longing the way that it was. That's why I was struggling to find peace. And even in the midst of that darkness, there was something about the light that was calling me forward. And so I followed that light. And in the next video, I will talk about what was going on when I was 23 and what brought me back to Christ. In other videos, I will share some more things about my childhood and experiences that I've had, but I just kind of wanted to give the basic idea of how I started this journey. God bless you, and I hope that this is helpful to somebody today. I love you. Bye.